Hello and good evening for Wednesday, October 9th, 2024. We have just finished watching the fourth episode of Survivor 47 titled, Is That Blood in Your Hair? But we're just getting started here on Super Mater Brothers Podcasting and on some other channels as well, including United Federation of Podcasts. And hey, did you see that one? As I'm joined here with fellow podcaster Jason R. Phillips tonight. How are you doing tonight, Jason?
I'm good. I'm good. You know, Survivor comes but twice a year, and we're back into the thick of it. I'm excited to talk about this episode because this was a pretty eventful episode. The beginning of this season has been pretty good, but I feel like we're getting into the stride of the season, so this should be a good conversation.
I am also very excited to talk about this episode. I thought this episode was amazing. I thought this is one of the best episodes I've seen in a while. That I laughed out loud, a lot in this episode. I think that there was a lot to be said about it. The outcome of the episode also kind of a dramatic twist. You know, who saw this coming here? Spoilers, everybody, if you haven't seen the episode, as Keyshawn of all people gets voted out here. Lavo once again back in tribal, and the drama of this episode, Rome and Saul and Genevieve. I trusted you, Genevieve. I trusted you. You know,
after 2 seasons, the last 2 seasons of everybody going home with idols in their pocket, we've seen 3 episodes in a row with advantages played. So that's refreshing. And then a huge twist just because Genevieve didn't feel like, having her game played for her. I thought, man, there's no way. I thought it was the edit. I thought it was all up to the edit. You know, we talked about the edit when we're talking about Survivor. And I thought that the Kishan thing was just a thing to throw us all off the track, that it was obviously Rome going home. But no, she put together a little bit of a plan and everybody stuck to it. So it was interesting to see.
It sure was, how this all turns around, and Genevieve, who's been sort of a non-factor so far in this show, the Canadian on this season, as we are podcasting from Canada here as well, and she's been invisible here, only known as sort of a Rome ally. Here she turns the tables here on Keyshawn. She had this whole thing, like she becomes sort of this, I don't know, maybe a villain, maybe a heroine, depends how you want to look at it. We'll see how her story progresses here, but I'm intrigued left out of this. But beyond more of that, there was stuff here. Oh, hold that thought, coming in here a little bit. There he is, Jaemeel Robinson joining us. How you tonight, sir?
It always takes me a bit to come in, especially on nights where I lose a person out of nowhere. Okay.
You had to go punch a hole in the wall and cry a little.
Jaemeel, after all these years, I'm not as good at it as I should be, knowing your schedule and what's going on. That's why I over communicate sometimes, to try to say, what's happening right now? Are you busy?
Are you screaming right now? Just scream.
No,
because that's what kind of happened.
Yeah. Well, Jaemeel, I was just telling Jason, and we were sort of on the same wavelength here, that we really enjoyed this episode tonight. Did you have fun with this?
Dave, do you think I enjoyed this episode? I was enjoying it up to a point, and then it went into a different direction.
You liked 95% of this episode is what it sounds like.
Tell me more about that. What was the peak? Where did it was your draft pick? I'm sorry, it escapes me. I did mention to Jason, I'm like, I don't think Jameel's gonna be happy here with his draft pick going, but
so, I don't know, Jason, if you've heard how much I've expressed my displeasure at Rome in general. Michael, thank you for joining us, and I'm glad that you enjoy Survivor. Hopefully you don't enjoy my pain, because that's currently what I'm portraying here on screen.
Right. Just for context, everybody, if you're just tuning in at this time, Jaemeel, of course, drafted Keyshawn for this our little draft here. Let's bring up the graphic as he loses a man here tonight. Gabe's still going strong though. He's got Sue. Sue's giving him all the info. And Sue's got the
that. Okay, you say that. So, Michael, if you want additional context on why the pain is real, is because I have the tendency to do 2 things. 1, do a lot of research on the survivors, and 2, pick people who, for whatever reason, inexplainable reason, seem to have early exits from the game. previous what was it? It was Jackson who we didn't know anything about until the first episode, and all of a sudden his drug issue comes to, and he gets pulled from the game.
Yeah, that was like in the first episode of 42, I want to say, maybe.
Yes. Lest we forget last season and the injustice of was it Sue or Sarah or.
Well, it wasn't that much of an injustice. We can't recall anymore, but it's
where people were screaming at her, right? And she was not necessarily the problem with that tribe.
No, that's true. You have bad luck here with the draft, man. Sometimes, your guys go out unexpectedly. Keyshawn didn't see the coming. I didn't necessarily see. I kind of saw. You kind of see like they're telling you the story in this episode of how it eventually was Keyshawn, right? But it was originally going to be Rome, or it was going to be Saul, and it was all about Rome or Saul, and so many votes lost here and stolen, and the drama of the episode, just from a TV perspective, Jaemeel, take your allegiance to Keyshawn out of the picture. Did you enjoy this?
I'm still left with Rome.
I'm
still left with Rome.
He gets his way here, and sort of, right? He doesn't get Saul out, but Saul votes with them here in the that's also the big sort of development.
I think that Saul and Rome are going to just be at each other's throats no matter what. I think that the damage is done and there's not really anything coming back. Rome did try to walk up to him and be like, "Hey man, it's just a game."
What do you mean?
But I think that was a little
Rome did not do late. That was patronizing. That was not.
Oh, I think that he was convinced to do that eventually. Like after everyone's like, what did wasn't cool. He's like, well, that's not who I am. Now that everyone tells me that.
I absolutely disagree. That he's showing us, he's telling on himself. That is who exactly he is. He doesn't think it's as bad as it being presented from total strangers, but he's an absolute asshole from what he is portrayed on screen.
I wanted to ask you guys about that because, like, it is Survivor, but I think he's playing too hard too early to be acting like that. Or, like Jaemeel says, maybe that's just in his character.
I don't think he can help himself. I think like there's part of him that heard that it could be him in this vote, and he was like, when that was like a huge wake up call almost to him here, and he goes, "Oh, I'm sorry, Saul. I don't. Now that this could flip around on me." I'm like you saw the panic there, but I think that also kind of shows that like people let Rome is the way he is in the camp and in this game because people kind of let him do this, right? Mm-hmm. They just tolerate it. They can't be bothered to be confrontational with him, and so you sort of have a monster, right? And like it's not until like he's very self-interested, Rome, right? So if it's not in his interest to act a certain way or do a certain thing, he's not going to do it. He's at least a little bit savvy that way, but naturally he's just going to be sort of selfish.
I think ultimately, and we see it time and time again, Survivor is a game where there's so much downtime, that these folks can't help but be themselves. Andy is the way he is, right? Where he seems like a complete buffoon in the presence of any other human being that has a heartbeat. And when he's by himself and he's doing his confessionals, he seems so eloquent and enlightened about his position and what he needs to do. It's true. It's exactly true, right? Sam, right? He can't help but not be in control. The moment that he has any a moment of where he's out of control or not in control, you see me freaks out. He can't handle it. He strikes at Sierra when obviously Andy gives him like Sierra's head on a platter, where he will ultimately know that if Sierra decides to plot against him, he has that upper hand, and he totally throws it away just to throw it in our face. Right?
And that's
These
great.
people can help.
That's the benefit of having that little bit of extra time at camp at the longer episodes. But it just sucks when, they have all that extra time at camp and nothing happens, which has been prevalent in the previous season. Last season, there was a lot of like, we're not getting any additional context for anybody or the way that they are. They're just hanging out around camp, listing off Taylor Swift songs. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That was a big part of last season. Taylor Swift against
Metallica,
of course. That was kind of entertaining, but this has been much more strategic this season. Yes. They're focusing way more on the strategy, and I think that a lot of these players are way more Some of them are sloppy, like Rome, I think, to a degree is sloppy, but he's at least entertaining. They're all entertaining to a degree. Even Keyshawn here was sort of an interesting character. I'm sad to see him go here because I think he was adding
Genevieve,
but I think that Genevieve comes alive here in this as a character in this season, in this episode, where and then at the end, TD's like, "Why?" And she's like, "I'll tell you later."
Which was great.
But like ultimately Genevieve could not play the quiet mouse character, right? She had to do what she needed to do. And ultimately you see people expose themselves. Teeny wants to play this mastermind game, but she can't. Her heart gets in her way. She can't help it, right?
Right.
People are who they are.
They are who they are. Yeah, like Rome is who he is. I agree to a certain extent. Like this is like, not who I am. Well, okay. Well, we can whatever you want to say there, Rome. But
he's absolutely the friend of the friend group that like tells the story, and every so often the friends kind of go like, okay, okay, Rome. So is Sam and Rome gonna have a rap battle, a freestyle rap battle?
Oh my gosh, they're both terrible.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope that comes to pass. I think there's some interesting, like we've lost some of the more, I guess, extravagant people here, like very like out there, like TK, of course.
What was it? Was Asia really? I think Asia was going to be game body. And
Asia, the least of these people, for sure. But even John, I think, would have been sort of, I don't know, somebody always making a speech or something.
I had TK in my fantasy draft, and I was bummed out that I lost him. But in that last episode, when he was disparaging his team and just acting like he was running the show, I was like, oh, I made a poor choice in taking him, and I think that would have gotten him eventually. It all comes down to personality with that guy.
Absolutely. I think the TK was not long for this. You kind of eventually you see that maybe this person isn't as smart or strategic as I thought. I'm impressed here with Genevieve and how she pulls this off against Keyshawn, who's not a dumb person or a dumb player here. Like maybe was playing a little too.
Well, ultimately, yes, he was playing. It's the same thing that happened with TK. Look, you can push like the whole game of Survivor is to push things into position slowly. Because it's not a short game, it's a long game. Even though the days may be, in between, tribals are a lot shorter, you still can only push people so much. And him trying to set up all these dominoes, right? he played too much, right? If he just stopped with the Genevieve portion and just stopped there, he would have been fine for the week. And then next week he would have tried something different.
So what are you saying was the fatal flaw here for Keyshawn in terms of what he did here in this episode?
He should have only done one thing. So because he did throw the Genevieve name out for Saul to be misdirected to Rome, right? And then afterwards try to get Rome out like Rome and Genevieve aren't thick as thieves and they're not going to talk regardless, right? That's playing too quick. He needed Teeny there for Teeny to kind of like, pull him by his bootstraps and say, hold on a second, you're walking close to the edge. So, he did one step too much. And once you do that, Genevieve obviously did the right thing for herself, because if anyone's putting your name out there, right, you already know where you are in the pecking order. If someone's quickly going to put your name out there, once he did that, she knew that, okay, once Rome is gone, what happens next?
Right.
Keyshawn and Tina are very close. He's now just picked up Saul, and now I'm at the absolute bottom. Makes no sense. So,
I thought he was goaded into saying Genevieve too, but then they showed the recap of him saying it when asked who it should be. And then I recall, I believe in like the second episode, Keyshawn was even like, if Genevieve goes home, I'm fine with that. So he had a bit of he couldn't deny the fact that he wanted her as the first name that he throws out. So when Rome goes over and says it, Genevieve could have easily went to him and been like, did you say my name? And Keyshawn could have been like bad at lying. We don't know that. Never got that far. But I'm sure that the truth would have come out.
Yeah.
So, yeah, even in the edit here at the end, they kind of like they kind of show that Keyshawn was like, I'll throw Genevieve's name out there. I don't care. And there's kind of this maniacal laugh. I was like, did they show us when did that happen? Or did they show that before that particular moment in the episode? I was like, it's a flashback I forgot about.
Yeah. I want to be an agent of chaos in this game. Also, they showed him.
Yeah, that was like, I was like, oh, okay. So they're kind of trying to like, they're like, they must have tested the original ending of the episode and it tested poorly because everyone's like, what happened to Keyshawn? And they're like, no, he was pulling strings. You don't get it. And he kind of made his own bed here. Is what you're saying. But does it all come back to the original conversation with Rome when Rome says like, okay, who do we tell Saul is the decoy? What is the best thing that Keyshawn could have done there in that situation?
Why not you?
Tell him it's me. Well, hey,
because you're trying to appeal to Saul's, like, you know, what Saul wants the most, what he can't pass up, right? And the fact that the moment that words started floating around that Rome could have been a possibility, look at Saul's body language, right?
Yeah.
The dude was smiling. The dude was like
beaming the whole rest of the day. Like, why are you so happy, man?
Right? There's no way that dude was gonna play a shot in the dark if he had a chance to get Rome, because the dude just, he said it himself, he never gets talked to the way he's been talked to by a person of Rome stature, which I'm like, wow, okay.
So Saul wants to just crush him. Can we just watch Keyshawn's exit interviews? We're kind of just talking about the downfall in his game. I didn't get a chance to see this yet. So
I got blindsided, as simple as it can be. Some people may have caught wind of what I was doing, which led to my downfall. So props to them. I respect the move. I respect what they did. Had I wished I had made Final 3? Of course. Had I wished I won? Yes. But I have no regrets. That's
Sheen was key. No, put the key.
It was a picture of a key with Sean next to it. Sean, which is not even how he spells his name. Like, but anyway. Well, not with a key either, but that's to be not even said there. Keyshawn, I don't know. He was kind of maybe a little lackadaisical in this game. Wasn't necessarily on guard enough. Maybe didn't care if he got voted out or not. You know, I don't think he was happy about it, but maybe was playing sort of like he had nothing to lose.
Yes, which is great if you have numbers. If Tina had a vote, Teeny had a vote. Geez, I can't talk. Teeny had her vote, then there would have been a little bit, more of an interesting situation. But we can't all,
I bet Keyshawn felt. I just bet Keyshawn felt so stupid because they showed him say at least twice. Man, I can't believe nobody said our names today. Isn't that crazy? Wow, usually you hear your name at least once, but I haven't heard my name at all. And it's like, I was watching it going, because the Rome Saul stuff is happening. I'm like, Keyshawn's out of this whole picture right now. Looking back, when he's sitting there at Tribal with that look on his face, yes, exactly. The burial begins, and he's sitting there, and he goes, "I'm freaked out," or whatever he says when they're all going to vote. I was like, "Oh man, he must be thinking about all the times," because they showed it twice. He was probably talking about it for hours because we don't know it. These we see what we see, but these people are out there for hundreds of hours, right? We don't see all of it, obviously. It'd be interesting to see how much he was bragging about not being on the chopping block.
Which, like, you're bragging for what? You're in a tribe of what? 5 people.
5 people,
right? This is the fourth vote.
Fourth vote, yeah.
Yeah, fourth vote. You haven't done anything in this game, honestly. You're not even sniffing the merge yet, and you're thinking you're that ahead. No.
Well, that's why Rome being so cruel to Saul was so off-putting to me.
Well, that was like, okay, that's what I want to get back to, because there's so much in this Lavo tribe in just this episode to talk about. Their vote here, but there's even earlier on how Rome chooses to use this steal a vote to sort of intimidate or give an ultimatum, I guess, if you will, to Saul, say, you must, if you don't give me your shot in the dark, because there's always this fear, if you play the shot in the dark and there's by some hijinks, I end up going home by like a rock draw, that would be the worst tragedy ever. So that paranoia drives Rome to like confront Saul in this very aggressive manner.
People put too much stock in that friggin' shot in the dark, and it's been in the last 7 or 8 seasons, and it's only won off successfully once.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Twice, maybe?
Yeah. No.
It's
they've had immunity twice, but it's only successfully defended.
Because once it was used and they weren't even the actual target, so it didn't
correct.
Matter. Right.
Yeah, if my memory serves me correctly.
But yeah, because you have to win like the roll of the dice of a 1 in 6.
Yeah,
and then
the votes have to be on you,
and then it has to actually be on you. So it's like it's barely an idol, but people kind of think of it almost like it's an idol or a sort of idol in a way, and it drives their behavior to bizarre places.
I have to agree, because you would think that people are trying to control the game so much that a 1 in 6 chance might foil their plans when when in actuality, if they just had a better plan, right, they would be fine. Because let's say he did have a shot in the dark, right, and it did land successfully, right? Let's say we knew it was a guarantee. What's the plan? Rome's not going to vote himself out, so who's more expendable? Right, at the end of the day. And if we're being honest with ourselves, it's Keyshawn, wouldn't it be? Because it seems like Rome has had a stronger relationship with Teeny, right? And Genevieve.
So especially in Rome's mind, he thinks he has a better relationship with Teeny than I think he actually does.
Yeah. So Keyshawn would have ultimately been the expendable person. So
sure, I don't disagree with that, but. Yeah. Jaemeel, as somebody who you traditionally think of this game as somebody you play within the rules of the game. I'm trying to win, you're trying to win, all's fair in love and war, sort of things. And do you object to Rome's approach to Saul in this particular episode, or is it's all within the rules of the game? It's all fair.
I think it's dumb. It's not even the matter if it's right or wrong, because technically it's within the rules of the game, but it's not a winning strategy, right? And even Genevieve talked about it. One of the reasons why she was thinking about voting out Rome was, I can only tolerate so far until it's pointed at me. Right?
I can only defend him so long.
So long until I am indefensible, right? Because I'm going along with it. And if you're going into a merge situation and Rome is continuing to be hot-ish, and let's say he wins immunity, they're going to take her out, right? Because that's ultimately what's going to end up happening.
That's where I was coming from. Also, because Rome did that whole move, then there's a virality of his reputation. Even if they drop their buffs tomorrow, and whatever this twist is for the next episode could be they get into new tribes, whatever. No matter what, this move will live with him in infamy for the rest of his game. And as soon as the word gets out that he could possibly do that, them talking about him being a chaotic player, that doesn't die. When you're known, you get a target on your back for being a big, strong person, somebody who's always like meddling. And if you're just pure chaos, like what's his face from the coach guy from last season, they should have cut him off at his knees so many times. He still made it through, and every move that he made screwed somebody over left and right. And they should have, when he was like, just vote me out, they should have just voted him out. We talked about that when I was on last season too.
Yeah, that's right.
Listen, Jeff, it's like, I got a plan, right? Yeah. You got the skirt. Was it what do they call it? The Q skirt?
Q.
This was about Q, right?
You're talking specifically about Q. Q was an agent of chaos. They should have eliminated the game. You don't have that. You don't have someone holding a knife over your head, right? And just play around that. Right, you got to get that out so that at least you have clear vision as to who you're dealing with. And the rest of the people weren't necessarily playing this amazing, crazy game. It's just that when you have a volatile element like that, it throws everything out of order because everyone has to react to it.
Mm-hmm. And then there's this legend that follows him around. And if I feel like Rome makes it to the merge with somebody else from the red team, and then they tell one person, and then everybody knows that he was willing to do this like really cruel thing in such an early part of the game that you can't trust anything he says. And Keyshawn said as much. I think one of you mentioned this already, but Keyshawn is like, that's too much. Like that's a lot for where we're at in the game, basically.
Right. He's playing at 100, unnecessarily, and when he has the majority anyway, and you're going, well, he has a shot in the dark, so I can't lock this down 100%. So therefore, that's unacceptable.
1 in 6 chance. Oh, we can't trust the 1 in 6 chance. That's it's too volatile of a situation.
Right. Well,
he's a gamer, right? Like he's an esports commentator, so he's surrounded by gamers. He's a big gamer, and he wants to gamify every little element of Survivor, and that's how I see this player. Right? He's playing. Yeah. He's trying to play it like a video game where he's playing a JRPG and he's min-maxing everything, but he's got to chill, man. He's a decent player so far, but he's annoying around camp, and he's willing to do this stuff to his own tribe. It's insane.
Right. Yeah, well, Asia's exit interviews that I saw, mentioned he's just so loud all the time. He's always like, just loud to be around. And Asia also said, the only time he was quiet was when he was talking to Genevieve, who was his closest ally. That's the only time he ever whispered, so out there.
Just imagine trying to game plan with this dude.
Right? I know he's a lot for sure, and they've alluded to that much. And you can see that Saul is just like the guy who's like, no, not this guy. It's almost like Planes, Trains, and Automobiles to me with John Candy and Steve Martin. With Steve Martin, of course, being the Saul role here. Where really? Do I still have that clip from last week?
And John Candy's just yap the whole time about.
Yeah, here I guess.
Can I have a minute alone? No, it's Survivor. I don't have to.
What the hell?
What the hell?
No, the funniest moment was when he Rome is just talking beside him, and Saul's just like I would never have someone of his stature talk to me this way, and I'm like, oh my gosh, is he just gonna turn around and just go like this and
choke him out?
Yeah,
put him in a headlock.
And ultimately here, Saul ends up voting with Genevieve and Rome, and he's almost like now in a thing with them.
No, he isn't, but it makes sense because from Saul's perspective, right? Is it better to try to smack Rome now in this situation, or are you trying to survive one more tribal?
Well, he could have still put a vote on Rome here. It still would have been Keyshawn to go. Well, I guess why not, right? But he hates Rome. That's why. So, and he had a personal vendetta here. And he was, and there was all this talk about him stealing his vote. You think after all that, Saul, just to say, you know what, you didn't get my vote, you didn't get my shot in the dark, and I'm putting a vote on you anyway, just to, say, screw you, man. But ultimately he says, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to vote here with Genevieve. And so you kind of wonder if you're Teeny, like when we get back to camp, am I on the bottom? And now has Saul usurped me in the alliance? In a certain.
Teeny does not believe that. But I think Saul is. I think he took a deep breath and asked the question: do I want Rome to be gone, or do I want to win this game? Right? Because I can vote to spite Rome, right? But even if I want to give the impression that we could possibly work together, right? Even if there's doubt, right? I'm looking at the long game of what's going on. This is what Saul is thinking, right? As opposed to just to spite Rome. So next episode, we play the exact same song and dance, right? Yeah. I can't even, take a poo or a shit by myself without.
I was wondering if Saul was
to make sure my feces don't have an idol in it. What does that lead to?
Where does it end? But I think you might see more players like Rome in the future. We'll see. Here's a question about Teeny's game. Where do you see it going in this upcoming episode? Is there still a possibility of a Genevieve flip? So I guess the question is, what is sort of the post, Keyshawn Red Tribe going
Rome
to be?
Finds an idol.
Lavo Tribe.
I haven't seen the preview for next episode. Rome finds an idol. I'll laugh. Rome finds an idol.
Well, why not? I didn't get a chance to look at it yet either, so let's just have a look here since we're on the subject.
Okay,
we've got a brand new Survivor twist. Next time on Survivor.
That's secret.
Right.
That is confidential.
That creates some fireworks.
What?
Tiana threw you under the bus.
I'm angry. I want to crush her survivor dream, and I want to smile while it happens.
Gabe, don't do that. Please, you're in such a good position right now. Please don't do anything.
I'm hoping that Teeny goes with the flow a little bit, and Jeannie and Guinevere could work together with Saul, and then they focus Rome. It's not necessary that it's lava, right? It's not necessary that
Lavo.
Yeah.
Lavo, red like lava. It's not necessarily that they're going to be going to tribal again. There's plenty of things that could happen. There was also
I say they don't.
Right, because it's going to be two people are going to have to sit out of a tribe and one person of another, right? I think
no, it's one each. One to the other two tribes.
Yeah, because
they're
all
tied up this episode.
Yeah.
I thought it was 654, but it's anyway. Doesn't matter. People are going to be sitting out. Yeah, it's going to be a more even playing ground, and it's going to be an interesting thing to see the other teams how they're getting along. And that seems like Yellow's having some issues over there.
There was like a lot of almost nothing with Lavo in that particular preview,
right.
So it wasn't a lot about Teeny or any of that going on here. I do want to get back to talk about Gada and about the Blue Tribe. Tuku, but just back here on Lavo, and I guess everything that played out there. Yeah, I agree. I think we've established that this is kind of a dumb move by Rome and everything else, and else. But I'm trying to establish is Genevieve in control now? Is she running this?
That's
show?
how it felt. Yeah, I would say that because she really didn't want to be told what to do by these boys. It's what it felt like, these right. boys acting a fool. And as soon as she heard her name put out there, she's like, no, I'm taking this game back. So she might be top dog going forward. Teeny will fall in line with that probably because Teeny's a sweetheart. And I'm going to reveal that I actually, so in our fantasy teams, we get to pick 6 and 1 MVP, 2 from each tribe. One of those 6 is your MVP. I have Teeny as my MVP because she's such a underdog character that we might get another who's the Canadian girl who won
Marianne.
It might be another Marianne
or Erica who broke the
Now he's gonna make me go get it off the soundboard. Hold on, set me up though, Jaemeel.
She broke the hourglass and changed the fate of history forever. I know I messed up that line. But...
I smashed the hourglass and I changed the course of history.
Yeah, I was close.
It's my all-time favorite Erica clip.
Erica's just as an aside, Erica's like podcast famous now. I see her everywhere. She's on like reality shows and everything. It's
she
really
on the
nice
Traders?
She was on the Traders show, and she's always on the Sonar Network podcasts. I've noticed. That's
Sonar.
Yeah, good on for Erica. One of our Canadian winners out there. But sorry, back to where were we on? Sorry,
we're talking about Teeny's.
Okay. Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
Teeny's too smart to kind of fall into that pitfall. That was Keyshawn's issue. I know that they might have Rome might feel a certain way why Teeny never went to him about the situation. But I think Genevieve overall knows it makes better sense to kind of lock in Teeny and then move forward with those 3. We'll see how Saul goes because Saul also was unwilling to listen to reason when she was talking to him as well. So is she going to play with the volatile element that's going to be extremely loyal to her no matter what, or the volatile element who is less volatile but seemingly won't put things aside to listen to her reason?
Well, what I'd say they definitely successfully did in this tribe was they gave us 6 castaways that were very different and dynamic and sort of they're all playing off each other, and we've had back-to-back votes with them here in these 2 episodes, and it's just been sort of like it could be anybody and everybody's sort of gunning at everybody. It's a Mexican standoff. This a big part of that's Rome and how erratic he is, but Genevieve, she's emerged as like this sort of almost Machiavellian character. You had Keyshawn, who was kind of a sort of a I don't know, villain in his own way. Then Teeny here, who's lost people, right? Like she wanted to work with Asia. Asia goes. She wanted to work with Keyshawn. Oh, now Keyshawn was her number one. He's gone. Like, what will TD do now? Is sort of what I'm wondering. But that's kind of interesting too to see where she goes from here. She's got this amulet now. I want to talk to you guys about that part of it. And the security.
Genevieve, you can't forget. You can't rule out the fact she's a corporate lawyer. And I find that lawyers always do very well until they reveal that they're a lawyer, and then it's like, get that person out of here.
You can't be a cop or a lawyer.
Well, Jeff asked last week, how come no one ever wants to get the doctors out? Because like, why is a lawyer or a cop so much more intimidating than a doctor? We saw in Lost that Jack Shephard ran that island. I think it's plausible that Keyshawn thought himself as a Jack Shephard type Jaemeel who was going to take over.
But that's not why I picked Keyshawn in the first place. I didn't think he was like this mastermind that was going to be masterminding the season or anything like that. I thought he was a very intelligent individual who was very personable and was able to connect with people. He wasn't a bum in challenges, and you want something like that. You want someone even keel. I didn't know the dude was gonna try and be like Mr. Burns and steal the fur off of all the puppies to make a vest all of a sudden. Episode.
See my vest. See my vest.
What's going on, dude? Just like hold it down a little bit. Like just calm down.
Oh, that's funny.
What can you do?
I think Keyshawn kind of played himself. I think he
played himself.
We're all kind of agreeing on that, but that's also been the interesting dynamic here is how this played out, how Genevieve flipped it all around, and so many of them had their votes stolen, or Teeny didn't have a vote. She gets sort of sidelined in this episode, even though she's present and she can talk and help wheel things around here. Her other part of it is that she wanted to work with Saul. She likes Saul clearly, and she's like, great, you're in now. We're going to vote out Rome, and you're going to take over Rome's spot in the alliance, and Lavo strong from forevermore from here, right? Like, she has sort of this story that she's hoping will play out here, and that's not what happens. And that's so I think they left that out of the preview for next week. I think we're gonna, that's obviously how we're probably gonna start the next episode and seeing the aftermath of all that before.
It's too bad that they only show all of that extra B-roll footage, for lack of a better term, of the people going to tribal, because I just want to see the aftermath of an afternoon of Lavo. I just want to see how it goes, because I want to get a better feeling. I'm at a loss for what happens to Lavo going forward, because they have this malignant tumor in Rome a little bit. We got Sol who is at odds with Rome, so that's going to always be a dynamic. But if they're not going to tribal, then they can coexist. They're not going to go lose. They're not going to lose on purpose, so to speak. That rarely happens anymore, or if ever. It's usually a stupid thing to do anyway. I hate that. But I think I want to see what happens with them. But it seems like Blue Tribe is going to be the focus of the next episode. So who knows?
Yeah, I'm curious. Okay, but like the other, like sort of maybe, I don't know if I would call him a tumor in the game, but he's definitely an interesting player. Is Andy, of course, ironically in our draft was drafted by the same guys who drafted Rome, our guy Foster, who took Andy and Rome. Andy. So Andy, because Gata wins this immunity tribal, and we haven't even talked about like the fact that Rome botched that puzzle in the immunity challenge and got them tribal in the first place. And,
unwilling to switch out when obviously he didn't have the juice.
Me and my wife were sure it was going to cut to him being like, I did that on purpose so I could get Sol out. That's how deep this goes.
Yeah, like I just did that on purpose so I could definitely steal Saul's vote and I could definitely screw him over on his shot in the dark.
Yeah, that's what it felt like.
Out of the game. But how that's not even more of a subject in the tribal. Like, we should vote out Rome. Did you see what he did on the puzzle?
Yes.
He completely have you ever seen a nosedive like this? And Rome's like, I just had a bad day. What are you gonna do? What do you mean you had a bad day?
You put us in this position. We had a lead.
We got to the puzzle first.
Okay,
Sol was even like, do you want a different perspective? And he was like, no, I got this.
Like at some point, if you were on that tribe with him, when you wanted to just like pick him up and get out of here.
Time, Genevieve did not switch out either.
Genevieve is like his biggest asset, his biggest protector. She's like,
She was just
okay.
like, here one.
Here you go, Rome. Do you want with this piece? Oh, is that
Here's
not working? Okay, how about this one, Rome? And then you got Saul in the back.
So
Rome, that's not the piece, Rome. That's not the piece.
Rome.
I don't know where Keisha and Teeny were in this mix, but they were sort of passive.
Sorry. I cackled with laughter. This was the best promotion to sign up for Survivor, with Jeff going and putting that one piece on the puzzle. That was brava.
He's like, it's very hard to do these puzzles, way harder than you think here on the show. And he puts that. Oh yeah, what a great moment too.
Yeah.
Like in the
I predicted that in the moment to my wife. I was like, watch Jeff just walk over and do it. But then they made a whole special cutaway of him doing it. I laughed out loud so hard. And I choose to believe he did that on the first try.
Yeah.
I choose to as well. Of course, it's Probst. He can do no wrong.
Yeah. I need more meta advertisements like this.
Yes.
Going forward. He's
like, you got to do it,
You got to dig deep.
You got to dig deep.
Yeah.
Get it out.
That's it. I love all the Probst stuff here. Now, but the fact to hear that Andy, that gotta wins the tribal because of what Rome does. And then Andy's like, you know what, Teeny, you're coming with me on this excursion. And then Teeny loses her vote. This whole thing here where who was the person from Blue that went?
She's a Caroline, isn't it?
Caroline, right? Yeah. And so Caroline goes out there and she's like, I didn't want any part of this. This is the worst thing that you could have. And it turns out to be bad. They end up getting these amulets that I think are more of a burden than anything else.
I think so too.
Right? Because they go back.
They asked that question that's like, is this a chance to work an alliance or a chance at warfare? And honestly, I think that they all gave their hand and said they had all three of them said they had their amulets. And really what you want to do is get rid of the people with the amulets if you're a person with an amulet. So I think it's going to create an interesting new idea. There's been things like this before where you have to have the three things together, but I've never seen it where the power increases this way. Right?
They've done it similarly.
Yeah,
sort of similarly, but this one is like they have to agree to both use it. Is
one person,
right? That's a new aspect of it. The fact that it becomes more powerful, they've done before. They've given like 3 advantages out, and then say, okay, but as these like dwindle down, they'll become full on idols or whatever.
Yeah.
So
I think in the past the rule was, if you vote out one person, it becomes like a steal a vote. And then if all three, the other people are voted out, then it becomes a full idol. You can work together and it'll be a full idol as well. Right? So the fact that as you lose people, it doesn't necessarily increase its abilities. It just reduces the amount of voices in the decision, right? Until it just becomes a full idol. I think that's the difference. But the actionable thing that has come from this is it seems that all 3 parties have indicated because they went on the journey, all the people who have this element in their hand. So they're marked.
Yeah. Right. Well, that's the thing. Is like, okay, well, first there's this whole aspect of like the ultimatum they're given, which is like, okay, you all will have to risk your vote. You have to flip these timers over. And unless one of you agrees to sacrifice your vote, then you will all lose your vote or something. Like there was sort of like,
unless everyone agrees, everyone loses their vote. One person has to give
one person
up.
has to.
But if one person volunteers, you get a chance to maybe get these amulets or maybe not, right?
Yeah.
And they end up getting the ambulance. So that Teeny's like, the other 2 won't budge. So she gives up her vote, even though she knows she's going to tribal. She has the more of the case to make. But Andy and Caroline,
she was always going to give that up because she did not give Andy any pressure whatsoever. And I think Andy would have, if he was given the real pressure, if there was someone who was more of outgoing personality, Andy would have totally broken.
We know what Andy's like at home, though. They don't know that Andy's a pushover. That's the issue. We're yelling at the TV, like, just let Andy, Andy be Andy.
Carolyn was never going to give that up.
No, Caroline's too smart.
She's also, I think, from her background, she's a little bit too entitled.
Right. But the fact, I thought it was kind of smart on like Gada's part. Like, okay, we're going to send Andy on this mission. And then I don't know how they strategically decide it had to be Teeny and Caroline. I don't know what goes into those discussions, but it's very random.
Do you think that the reason why they decided on Andy was chances are he'll probably lose whatever advantage he got?
Right. It's more like
fall under the bed or
everyone knew that
this in the water. There was ripped
this
pants.
Excursion, this journey was probably going to come back with a bad thing, and I think even what they got out of it wasn't that good. To the discussion of like, is this an alliance maker or warfare? I think it's more warfare. I think you're more incentivized to try to get out the other people. The fact that you have to work together is more complicated and more coordinated, and I think it's unless you happen to be in an alliance with the other member. Like, I don't know. It seems far-fetched that these three in particular people are going to, later on in the game, strategically use these.
So, David Jason, who do you think is going to be eliminated first out of that trio?
And
well, hopefully not Teeny for my game.
I
want to say Andy, but you think Caroline? Because I think Andy's kind of a cockroach a bit. I think he's going to be a number.
He's not going anywhere
his whole career. Caroline's gonna seems like she wants to play Survivor. So
Sierra doesn't know. Sierra's not sure about Andy yet, but she's telling him about the bread makers and all or bread winners.
She keeps telling him everything and not telling her number one ally because she's too afraid of her perception of them being in a relationship, like a romantic relationship, which I think is really funny.
Which they end up fighting. Which from a distant observer, it's like, wow, the couple is fighting.
Yeah,
they do play that part very well together.
They say old married couple at one point too. So I'm like,
right. She's like, we can't be the old married couple, and the fact that they don't understand each other's argument at all. She's like, no, I didn't come up with the alliance. And like, she's like, that's not what he's mad about. He's mad that you didn't tell him first. He's mad that he heard it through Andy. Like, don't you get it? She's like, like this is like a show. Like we're watching this relationship, but they're not. They're apparently with other people and all that. And
they're both engaged to other people.
They're both engaged, but in this, they're like married in the show. It feels like,
work wives and work husband.
Right? Yeah, kind of more like akin to that.
Which I don't know why Sierra does not want to join up with those other women because they seem like two extremely competent women, and breadwinners is correct because the way they handled that challenge with so much poise, like it was no doubt they crushed that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And
Rachel.
Sorry. Rachel and Annika, right? Annika.
Yes. Annika and Rachel. I just want to, as an aside, I just want to say they're two classic Survivor archetypes, and I can see them going extremely far in the game.
Yeah. I hope so. I feel like one of them is going to slip on a banana peel, and the game's going to be lesser due to it.
Yeah, I'd say with the Gada tribe in particular, Andy's a very interesting character. Sam and how he's trying to use this whole Sierra's kind of caught up in this alliance with these two, and she's not sure about it. But on the other side, she's got the women, and she doesn't seem too interested in that. But on the other hand, she is. She's going to sort of at least pay lip service to it. But it seems like her true alliance is to Sam. That's who that is her number one, really. And she's like, I guess, Andy, because Sam is bringing him along. He's kind of like
Andy's their kid. Andy's like their child.
More like that brother-in-law.
Something
like, he's my old friend and he lives
the idiot brother-in-law.
Yeah, or brother-in-law or something like that. This guy that the husband just has to, he's fine. The wife's like, no, he can't live here with us. We need to have more stable stuff. And
but he's fun to drink with, and he likes to play pool.
And he gets me info. He brings me info about you're telling me stuff I don't even know from you. So he's useful to him. He's playing about here. I think that who's the only one on the Gada tribe, who didn't get a lot of screen time in this particular episode, I guess, was Rachel.
Yeah,
right.
Rachel.
And she I kind of forgot a little bit about her tonight, but we saw that they killed the challenge, and they're doing all right overall. Maybe this is a good time to maybe segue over to the Blue tribe, the Tuku tribe as well. The Caroline hailed from.
Listen, I just want to get this out there. In what universe?
Yes.
Okay.
Say it, Jason.
In
Say
what universe? I'm not shaming.
You're not shaming. You're telling the truth. Truth to power.
But in what universe is Sue 45?
Okay,
and why wouldn't she just say like 52?
Yeah.
This was I laughed so hard. Like this was so okay. I pulled a clip here. Let's just
please.
100% they're underestimating me because I am the older generation, but I'm hiding a lot from my tribe. They have no clue that I'm 58 years old.
How old are you, Sue?
45.
Damn, really?
Yeah.
Like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That, like...
That's awesome.
Damn.
Damn.
That's not the way I would have interpreted that damn. Because, okay, Jason was nice. Jason was nice. I'm not going to be that nice. Okay. The only way I'm taking that woman as being 45 is if she told me a following story where she was a model or she was some kind of entertainment business or was some person's main squeeze, and she got a heavy addiction into plastic surgery and suntan, and she had an unfortunate situation where she stayed in the sun straight. And
skin grafts
because my gosh, that is a harsh 45. If I've ever seen
45.
Yes, that's a harsh 45.
City miles on there.
City miles.
Kyle's just like I think Kyle just
that's
like
some galaxy miles there.
Trying to be polite there. He's like, wow, that's awesome. And we didn't get any of the confessionals like from Gabe who's saying like, come on, 45, but we're in our 40s, right? All of us. I'm assuming, and like, come on, like if somebody.
Well, that's what I said. I'm 39, right? I'll be 40 in April.
He was humoring us.
If
he's like, I'm not one of you yet, but
if 5 years, no, I say whatever. But I don't look terrible. But if in 5 years from now I looked like that, obviously she's had some work done. Obviously she's.
Right. Well,
but then also obviously
your face is pulled back.
Did she date the Joker? I have to ask because
she got blasted in the face with Joker smoke or whatever, Joker serum. But like worst comes to worst, she looks like she's 55, and that's fine. But saying 45 is wild.
Implausible.
What is that?
I don't know why. Yes. I don't know why, because you just look at like later, just a second later in the clips, her arms and her there's things that just change on your body as you get older, and like there's no way that somebody in like their mid 40s.
I'm glad Ro wasn't on that tribe, because Ro would have went like.
Ro would have just he would have laughed. He would have laughed hard.
Ro, yeah. There's no way he would stay silent about that.
No way. No. He wouldn't be able to help himself.
He'd probably ask her how old she was already. Like that it would already have been established that she's allegedly 45 from day one.
How old do you think I am?
Like 58.
Is she actually 58?
Yeah. She may actually be older.
Had in his confessional. Okay. I was just trying to be nice when I said 58.
Yeah. This was a lot. I've never seen somebody make that stretch.
I am sorry, Sue, if you ever see this. I know you've been a butt of my jokes for the last 3 minutes. That being said, right? For 58, you're in great shape.
Sure.
You're taking care of yourself.
Yeah,
right?
No shit.
So I hate this, I'm not going to say my age. I want them to think I'm younger. No, right? You seem more capable than some other women in the show and other women in shows past who were, 3 times less your age.
Yeah, I will say people in her slot, the older generation women usually get written off immediately and voted out quick. And I think that while her ability to hide the fact that she just straight up has an idol and got that shit everywhere And then she's like, I had an accident, I bit my tongue. I thought that was all very ridiculous, but
amazing, like amazing. Just added to her character in this episode, like that she's just like this informant for Gabe, is the other part of it. She's like, I just bring all the info to Gabe, and Gabe's like, this is amazing. I love this alliance.
The fact that Gabe wanted to go out there and play with the older woman, I'm like, Gabe, what are you into, buddy?
Yeah, unconventional. Can we just watch this clip here of Sue with the machetes and stuff like that here?
Yes.
Sue? Hey, how was your walk?
Good. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm just chilling.
Is your chin okay?
Yeah, I think I probably cut one.
Did you fall?
I was playing with the machete. I'm good. It's okay.
Is that blood in your hair?
Where did you cut yourself? I'm okay. I didn't cut myself. I just did something stupid. I'm fine. But I bit the back of my tongue.
Oh my god. She's kind of scaring me a little bit. I'm not gonna lie to you.
You bite the back of your tongue.
I bit the back of my tongue. She's got all this red.
Stupid. I was playing with the machete.
Well, this is a whole new twist where like he finds the idol by accident almost, right? And then this paint thing comes down and splatters everywhere. She's caught red-handed. She tries to cover it all up, but she has just enough of it to look like blood on her at the end here. She's got this machete. They think she's maybe hurting herself. Like just a little bit of worry, concern, confusion. But who was it? Tiana, who was like, I think there's a little something going on here, but I don't know what to make of this. My BS meter is going off, but I'm not sure why. They're not exactly sure what she did, but they knew it wasn't right.
I would have loved if she went to a producer and asked her to look into Sue. Maybe Sue needs some help.
This is the next episode going to be like a psychiatrist comes on set to be like, are you self-harming, Sue?
I was playing with the machete.
I was playing with the machete and I bit the back of my tongue.
I bit the back of my tongue and I kind of smeared. Like she had and all of her like there was just a little bits of it everywhere. And
she just went into the water right after.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, but she's like, well, I'm just cleaning myself up a bit here.
Or she should have just cut herself. Honestly,
that's what I was just thinking.
Just nick your thing and just like just accidentally nick yourself.
Like realistically though, it seems like she managed to clean up all the stuff on the ground, and obviously there's no mirrors, so I think they came up right as she was finishing up all of this, and was just flustered. Like, how do you even react to that? She could have just come clean, or I don't know. I really don't know what the play is here. She just got so flustered that she just lied 3 straight times in a row.
It should have been a crow that the crow just calls like after the 3.
I think because she's the older woman on the tribe of 45, like that. Like she just that's
See, menopause hasn't hit yet.
Yeah, so like I guess she got that.
See, I am 45.
As a 45-year-old, you know how we get our periods. I got it, and
that's how it goes. I'm the woman here.
And we don't have the things out here we require, so I had to use my machete in the back of my tongue.
Did you guys like this twist of the paint and the idol?
Yes, because I hope that every tribe has this on their camp now for the rest of this till the merge. So everybody, I hope one person gets like Nickelodeon gooped with it.
We get uh-oh'd with it.
Get uh-oh'd with it. Somebody says what, and then blue goo comes down and
it says beware, and somebody just pulls it and it just goops.
That would be great.
And then they get caught like immediately.
Yeah,
which would be really funny.
Genevieve and Rome are fight it. Rome cuts it and it falls on Genevieve right over her. I was kind of hoping that it was like not invisible, but was luminescent ink.
Oh yeah, like it glows in the dark.
Okay. And then like something happens right after, like they have a challenge and they do like a different challenge where it's at night and it's all over them. They don't realize it. That'd be great.
But like that was like, other than like what happened with Sue in this particular episode, that's about the most of like the Tuku stuff that we saw. Gabe a bit, and that they seem to be doing well, but they're kind of
they're on shaky ground.
They're like, I guess Sue and Gabe are interesting to me. I find so far I'm finding like Tiana and Kyle, and even Caroline sort of whatever. Like they haven't really
Kyle's just too
drawn me
nice.
in,
Kyle is the guy that you're like, you know what? He's probably the most like centered individual. You know, he has a good home life, and he would probably the one most chill to like meet up and have a drink with. He seems like an overall nice guy.
I'm sure in real life, I agree. Kyle would be a great guy, but in terms of like him so far on the show, I'm like, I don't know what's going on with Kyle. Jaemeel was like, you were slowly drifting.
I'm like, what was going on? Like, I didn't touch.
I was like, are you coming here? Or...
I thought you were doing something off camera.
No,
I was like, what's he hiding? I think from my point of view, I didn't pick Kyle because I thought he had that kind of, Aussie kind of thing going where he was going to be spindly and good in challenges, and he's kind of just like a doofusy kind of a guy. He's good in challenges, but I do regret not taking him for my personal fantasy game, because he seems like he's got some longevity, because he's likable and he's good at challenges and he hasn't ruffled any feathers, and he's kind of funny,
He seems like a great ally.
He'd be a good guy. He's got that vegetarian energy for me. He's like, not super aggressive. He's kind of like passive, just kind of chill.
Is that the vegetarians? That's how they are.
Like, yeah, or the vegans like Murphy. Like there's like, okay, I don't have enough protein in me to,
cut to a clip of Davin and Murphy fighting.
Just arguing over the dumbest.
No, Davin, that's not what I'm saying. And of course, Davin only eats fish, but he's hopped up on the fish. It's like, listen, Murphy, is that what you're saying about this? Is that what you think I said about this movie? No, Davin.
Let's talk about.
Tune in to Hold Up, a movie podcast where you can see them bicker. It's great.
Oh, a whole segue there, yeah.
A whole segment.
I've been there for it.
It's great.
Oh man.
But okay, I know we've jumped around a lot here. I did want to get back to the amulets itself and the fact that they all go back to their tribes and they all tell them about the amulets too. Right, so they're kind of like it's way out there. None of them choose to keep it a secret. So I feel like it's kind of already dead on arrival.
I thought Teeny was going to come back and lie, and then I was like, oh yeah, it's Teeny. One of them should have just come back, and Teeny should have come back and said, I lost my vote because nobody decided to do it, and not even mention the amulet. I think she had the perfect excuse to lie. But like I said, she's not really the lying type, I would say.
Like how far these amulets only work once you get to the merge.
Exactly.
And otherwise there's kind of nothing other than maybe a target on you.
Did they say merge though? They said on the same beach.
One beach. No, once you're okay, so it will be the vote. They'll be in play as soon as they get on the same beach, which is one episode before the official merge.
But okay. Do you think they were going to get a false merge? Not like this,
or drop your buffs and reshuffle into new.
It'll be like an hourglass kind of a thing, where you have.
You think they're going to go back to that? I think they might have like everyone on the same beach, but they have two tribals type of situation.
Yeah.
Well, that is what they've done for like the last few years in some variation, where they have two teams, usually at random. They fight in this challenge. Whoever wins doesn't have to go to tribal. They're already in the merge, and the losing group is sort of.
No, I'm talking about where they have two teams and there's two immunities, and one group goes and votes first, and then they stay, and then they leave, and then the other group comes right after. They usually
that was the variation they did last season, right?
That's a double elimination.
I think they've done it 2 seasons.
Yeah. I don't know if I like that more or less. I don't know than the other team.
No, that's during the jury phase, mind you. Right? So they've merged technically, and then they split them up into two.
They brought chickens back, which I thought they'd never do again because of the political ramifications, whatever, about killing the chickens, which is inevitable. But that leads me to believe they're going to bring back some other old school Survivor thing, whether it be, just bring back the thing where you go and you get the money and you get to do the auction. I want the auction. I want the auction forever. They did that like 2 seasons ago.
Yeah. Which was great.
It leads me to believe, especially with that stinger at the end where they're like, it's time for a Survivor twist. It's going to be drop your buffs and we're getting new tribes, maybe 2 tribes, just so these amulets, maybe so these amulets can come into play sooner, because we're still 3 or 4 episodes away from a merge, right?
Jeez, if those 3, Carolyn, Teeny, and Andy are on the same tribe, that's an uneven team. But no matter what,
even if you want to keep these amulets secret, I think it's hard. But none of them even try to. And even once I think one of the 3 tribes knows about it, very soon everybody will know about it.
Yeah.
So it's like, that's why I think it's. I don't know. I don't know if this twist is going to play out very well ultimately with these amulets. We'll see if they come into play in a entertaining fashion.
To me, if I'm in any of these tribes that make the merge, and these 3 are still in the game, I'm going, hey everyone, we should vote out go for the 3 people off the bat. Just take that out of the play.
Yeah, I'm with Jaemeel on that one. We got to get rid of these amulets. But then here's the thing, or we got to keep all 3 of these people in the game so they doesn't get down to being one final.
Right, because you are making each of them, as you vote out the first 2 of them, you're making the 3rd person more powerful with a full idol.
And then they're like, oh, obviously I'm next. I use my idol.
Right.
But that also can be an advantage, because then you have that you take that out of the play. It's going to take 3 votes to do it, but at the same time you're taking an extra element out of the game, as opposed to keeping the 3 as long as possible. There's more chances for them to team up and kind of screw you another way, because they can combine it and vote for an ally that you were aiming to take out.
I think with Andy's amulet, I think, is the most interesting one here, because basically Sam is just going to tell him what to do with it, and so it's almost Sam's amulet in some ways.
Yeah,
or that trio.
Unless eventually we have Andy standing up for himself. It's like, no, I'm gonna do what I need to do with this amulet, and then he misplays and then gets voted out.
If Andy wins this season of Survivor, I'm never watching Survivor again.
I hope he wins in some ways, because he'd just be such an unexpected win.
Fail upwards.
Yeah, he's a hard guy to watch, quite frankly, but he's also, I can't look away. There's a train wreck factor here with Andy that.
Or big reveal. I played my game like that, so nobody would suspect me.
He kind of says it.
There's a quiet tension with Andy, like he's like a time bomb almost, always ready to go off, and you don't know when it's going to happen, but right now it seems fine, and you're kind of like, okay.
Nobody cheered for me because I was chopping wood or whatever.
Yeah, and I feel like there will be another episode with Andy sooner or later. We just have to wait for the right episode. So I'm, I feel like I have that sort of same dynamic here between like Sierra and Sam. We're like, well, it could be good for the show, or it could not be good, depending on how you want to look at it. We'll just have to wait and see. So, but the fact that his amulet,
a clingy boyfriend at one point too, like Andy he's doing everything.
Boyfriend
tells everybody loves them.
Yeah, loves them. And the fact that, why did you think Sierra told him about the breadwinners if she didn't want to tell Sam about it?
I don't know.
That one was a very good question. Dave, if you can answer that question, that would be a.
Did she just have a lapse? I have Sierra in the draft, and I'm trying to figure out if she's a good player or not. That move.
The only explanation is maybe she was testing Andy to see what was getting through to Sam. Maybe she has something that she hasn't explained. But most of these kinds of things are explained through talking heads and then shown. It's very rare that there's things happening where we don't at least get some insight in. I think it's literally a lapse, like Jaemeel said, or it's just she was trying to have a side alliance and didn't know that. I don't know how she didn't know Andy and Sam were thick as thieves, but I don't know. I think lapse is literally the best explanation.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, because we don't get anything in her confessional saying like, I gave Andy this information to see, or I gave this because I'm starting to trust Andy. In fact, she's telling us in confessionals, I don't even know about this guy. I'm still really unsure. I don't know what to do with him. But Sam wants to use him, I guess. But but on the other hand, she's not telling us that she's not loyal to the women, but she's also clearly not. So I don't know. She's kind of an enigma of a player for me at this stage, but she seems to be like the focal point of that yellow tribe. Like everything is kind of sort of revolving around Sierra in a weird way, and where she's going to end up. She's like the swing vote if they end up going back to tribal, but they might all get swapped. I don't actually like the idea of a swap for this next episode. I think you're right. We're probably maybe getting some version of that, but I'm not excited for it. I feel like these three tribes are kind of interesting. Because you're 5-5-4 at the moment. You could have one more challenge and see if blue or yellow loses one more person before.
You don't want 2 teams of 7? 2 teams of 7.
So what are we down to now? We're down
5, 5, and 4. So that would be. 14.
Well, I guess you could do 2. You could do 2 tribes of 7. I'd be okay with that.
How about 2 tribes of 7? But on one tribe, it is 5 from either of the other teams, and then Saul and Rome together.
Saul and Rome together. I hope so. I hope that Saul and Rome are the only they have to work together on this other tribe.
That'd be awesome. Yeah.
Yeah,
they split them up so they have to just exist in the world till they merge and they come back together and can finally duke it out.
I'd rather them be I'd rather a buddy cop.
Strange bedfellows.
Yeah, strange bedfellows.
As they say in wrestling.
We're only doing this for 2 more tribals until merge.
Can they coexist?
Saul and Rome. Because Saul was like, Rome will burn in this episode. You're gonna see this.
He's a no nonsense Survivor player, and Rome is a loudmouth, fast talking,
gamer guy. Whatever.
Con artist.
Yeah. Okay. So 2 tribes of 7 swap, some version of that I'm good with. But if they try to do another 3 tribes with this many people, what's the point? What's the point?
I think there's enough interesting characters that 2 7s would be fine.
Yeah. I like the 2 7s. It also opens up the opportunity to put the Amulets at least 2 on one tribe, or all 3. The producers must have something in mind when they do this, right?
Is it worded that if 2 of them are living on the same beach, then they've come, or do they all 3 of them have to be on the same?
They
beach?
said same beach, right? So maybe if there's 2 on one beach, it starts to activate.
That would be awesome.
But if they did a swap,
if the other one does the other one just become full idol? But that means that they're all full idols right now.
No, and they're not. They're not active yet. So
exactly.
I think that let's say all 3 of them have to be on the same beach, but in this next tribal or this next thing we get a swap, and all 3 of them do somehow end up on a tribe of 7. Then they're now active, right?
Yes.
And then that could be interesting. But it's only in that unique situation where it's very unlikely all 3 of them would get swapped to the same tribe.
Unless Jeff is all 3 people with the amulets are now on the same tribe.
We're just making this happen because we want to see what people do with the amulets.
Everyone knows about the amulets. Okay, if you want to play it that way, that you guys didn't keep a secret, all of you 3 are on the same tribe.
We ran the numbers, and it's very unlikely these amulets ever get used. So we're going to make you use them, just like how we made you play that game where you have to turn over the hourglass, and then lose your vote or don't lose your vote. Take the risk. Right, one of you has to take the risk right now, or no matter what, or all 3 of you lose it. Go. They're starting to give players these no choice scenarios. Basically, you have to take the disadvantage, or you have to take this.
But the way the players are so I've waited so long to be in this position. Everyone beware advantages. Outside of Andy passing on it for a hot second, everyone's gonna do it.
Yes, I think he's the only person I've ever seen not be I'm gonna put this away for later because I'm being cautious. I know I'm going to regret it. Regrets it immediately. 5 minutes later, Sam finds it and does it.
Yeah, it could be. I think that's all I have on this particular episode. In terms of my notes. But guys, anything else we've missed?
We covered the world's youngest woman. We covered.
Really amazing. Found of youth, really. What is your secret, Sue?
I'm glad that I'm coming in here. I was I just hope that I get to reveal that huge anomaly. Really, But I don't really have anything else. I think we covered everything. I just wanted to say that the game itself, the first part, the new thing that they added where you have to throw through the window, I just liked that. I just thought that was fun. It's pretty easy. All said and done. It was easy. It turned out, but I like the idea. If they had that and it was a further throw or like a bigger thing that you had to build with more opportunity for it to fall down, I think that would be better. I'd like to see a bigger version of that. Also, the big cube reminded me of like Super Mario 64 a little bit. The cubes in that. I thought it was a fun game, but I'm always going to be on the side of just do an award challenge and a immunity challenge if you're going to make the episodes 90 minutes. That's just, please, dear God. Even if the immunity or if the reward challenge is short, like, I don't know, an auction.
Yeah, it'd be nice to like throw that in there for sure, or to break up the episode a little more. I don't know. Sometimes I'm over these challenges, but I did agree that the one in this one was kind of interesting. I think it just turned out that you had somebody like I think it was Kyle and maybe was it
Kyle, Saul,
Saul did it, right? Yeah. They just happen to have that particular skill, right? But if you get like the wrong 3 up there, or even it could go very bad.
Big Brother, if it was Leah. And the way she was throwing.
Oh no! Like yeah, I know you're not a Big Brother fan, but yeah, there was like this sort of like a throw the baseball at the bottle thing on Big Brother. And these throws, like they say, like throw like a girl, but this is like not a throw. This is
she picked it up. You know when someone picks up something and then you see them go to throw it, and you're like, oh no, it was one of those. It was one of those. And
like, you didn't quite have it, So
it's like try the other hand because it might be better. It could be the same. Quick question, Jason, or Dave and Jason. If Sue was a pro wrestler, what would her theme music be?
Oh,
I already have one in mind.
I don't know, Mae Young's theme. What was Mae Young's theme?
That's where my thought initially went.
I'm the world's youngest woman in the world's oldest world.
Yeah, Forever Young, maybe.
Forever Young.
Yeah, I was thinking some Run DMC, and Tougher Than Leather, because
you're right on there. That's spot on.
It'd be Raining Blood by Slayer because of all the blood that fell all over her.
And she's like, I bit my tongue.
I bit my tongue. So there's blood in my hair.
Yeah.
I was like, are you okay?
I'm just having a bad day, really. Don't worry too much about it.
I did something stupid.
Right.
Get Sue and Eddie in the same drive.
I was playing with the machete. Also Slayer.
It was like a little machete game.
Do you want to play? You should have said that.
Do you want to play a game? Yeah.
I was playing with the machete. Do you want to play?
She does kind of look like Jigsaw. Yeah, she's got the Jigsaw cheeks.
Jigsaw survivor. Like she's a badass adrenaline-loving junkie pilot. Watch out! Here comes Sue,
the world's youngest woman. She's a circus freak.
Youngest woman. They have no idea. They can't tell. I'm
45,
60, basically 59. 45. I know it's not a huge difference.
That being said, I'm
25. I'm only 25, guys.
Good job,
if I had to recommend something for people to do post Survivor this episode, go check out The Substance in theaters. Don't see Joker 2.
Oh my God.
The Substance.
Is this Joker movie any good? Worth seeing?
Well, I was going to see Joker 2 on Monday, and my friend adamantly told me don't do it to yourself, and told me to go see The Substance, which was people cheered at the end of that movie. And one of the characters is Sue, so I strongly suggest you watch it. You'll find a lot of what we talked about kind of aligns in some respect.
Well, yeah, that's good to know. I'll put that into my watch list notes. Jaemeel, tomorrow we'll be talking about Big Brother, correct? As we're winding down the season 26. We got 2 more podcasts, right? We see the last Final Four eviction tomorrow, and on the finale on Sunday. Here on this channel, I believe we're going to talk about it, right? I don't know if we can count on Jeff.
I'm just saying, unless God tells me not to, I'm going to be on that episode tomorrow. Okay. And for those who are watching the live feeds, you know what I mean by that.
Well, I also have a Star Trek podcast tomorrow, so I'm going to fit that in before. So then catching up on the evictions. We may have to go a little later tomorrow night.
I think Big Brother will also help in that regard. Jason, what are you up to?
Yes.
Hey everybody, it's me, Jason. I'm I am on the Hey, did you see this one podcast? It is October, so we have opened up the Grimoire of Familiar Killers, where each and every, well, we do it twice a year now. There's a spring grimoire and a October grimoire, but we're doing the 6th iteration of the big 4 killers: Chucky, Freddy, Jason, and Michael Myers. And tomorrow night, right here on the United Federation of Podcast Network, competing with a Star Trek podcast and a Big Brother podcast. We're very cannibalistic here on the network. It's all different niche though, so you can get what you want. But we are talking about Friday the 13th, Part 6, Jason Lives, which I watched today for the first time ever, and I have to say, of the first 6 films, it's the best one probably since like the first one. So it's campy and funny and meta and weird, and Jason decapitates 3 people at once. It's incredible. And you can also catch me in Toronto here. I am an announcer for Super Kicked Pro Wrestling, and next weekend, or 2 weeks from now, we do our annual zombie wrestling, which is kind of like our WrestleMania. And the Friday and the Saturday, the 25th and 26th, we have 2 shows running at the new Super Kick studio. So look that up on Facebook. You can find the address for that and buy tickets on Groupon. And then on the 31st, we're also doing a show, which I won't be at because I'll also be here on the United Federation podcast doing my show. But yes, that's everything that's going on in my sphere. Thank you for letting me say all that. Grimoire Familiar Killers.
Well, we're also on your channel, so of course.
That's right.
Well, and while I'm mentioning it, tomorrow we are moving our next gen Star Trek: The Next Generation reviews to Thursdays, and tomorrow we're doing the Arsenal of Freedom, which has Vincent Scavelli, the peddler. So he was in Ghost and a whole bunch of other movies, like Batman.
Horror icon.
So that will be tomorrow, and then on Monday we're also fitting one in on Thanksgiving. We're going to do a Symbiosis next, so look out for that. If you're a Star Trek person,
I love that screenshot.
Yeah, Riker.
I have. Oh no! I have something to announce, and that is I will have something to announce soon.
Okay, that's like Monday Night Raw, where they're like, next week on Raw we have a big announcement.
We will tell you now.
That's on was it Rampage talking about something coming up. The announcement that will change the wrestling landscape forever is coming tomorrow next week on Dynamite. So
right, well, just like that great cliffhanger we got on Sunday on the Big Brother episode, Jaemeel. Like where they're like, who will win this challenge? We're gonna show you the entire competition, but not the ending, because we
have 3 shows a week. Probably
not even. They're down to 2. Well, and then there's a Friday show this week, Jaemeel, but we're not covering
that's
that.
That's a recap.
That's the recap of a recap.
That's a hard pass. That's a hard pass.
No way. That's right. Remember in week 1? No, we remember. Don't worry. Yeah. So anyway, this has been a long-winded outro. We're gonna get out of here. Thanks for being with us. Thanks to Jason and Jaemeel for being all here tonight. A great fun talking Survivor with you. Hope you'll be back, Jason, to talk more about this whenever you can.
Absolutely, I will be.
And I think we need more of this Sue clip to close this out. We'll see you next time, everybody. Have a good one.
100% they're underestimating me because I am the older generation, but I'm hiding a lot from my tribe. They have no clue that I'm 58 years old.
How old are you, Sue?
45.
Damn, really?
Yeah.
Like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Beam up some Star Trek content with Live Long and Podcast. Tune in to X-Rated, the X-Men animated review show. Artistic interviews with graphic histories. A roundtable movie discussion with Hey, did you see this one? And movie reviews with Hold Up, a movie podcast. And while you're at it, spin a few records with Eamon on Track. Watch us duke it out on trivial debates. And let's chat about TV with the Super Mater Brothers. It's all here on the United Federation of Podcasts.